All right, we are live. Ugu, welcome to the podcast. Greg, welcome back, or not to the podcast. I'm used to doing podcasts, so welcome to the live stream.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
excited to be on here.
You were with Xend, and we're here to learn all about it. And I love the shirt, the representing the Xend Finance merch.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
And so let's jump into it. Why don't we start with your background and the background of Xend and kind of how I'm sure those two stories run together anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, my name is Ugochukwu Arono. I have to say that in full. Mostly people call me Ugo because it might be hard for non-Africans to pronounce. But yeah, my background is in engineering. So I schooled in Nigeria, in the University of Nigeria, graduated in 2015. I worked for KPMG. I'm doing vulnerability assessments, penetration testing, more like white hat hacking for KPMG. When we work as consultants for financial institutions like banks, and other financial institutions out there in Nigeria and other countries. Then I worked for a software company where I actually was writing code mostly. So my background is in software engineering. Then before I started my own company in 2016, ending of 2016, and that's when I also got into blockchain. Learning about smart contracts. I developed my own Bitcoin wallet at the time with other Bitcoin derivatives because I always wanted to know how this thing, it was a very fascinating technology. So I wanted to know how it worked under the hood. I started building my own implementations of the Bitcoin blockchain, Bitcoin derivatives, and multiple wallets. Then I even had a hackathon where I offered $1,000 for anybody who could hack my wallet, but nobody could hack it at the time. So yeah. But now some exchanges, some wallets actually integrate my APIs, and from then I started, getting involved in the whole crypto thing. That's when I bought my Bitcoin and all that. But 2017, I was just aware of the the 2017 bull run, and then I didn't really think about, I wasn't part of it. I was just focusing on engineering. Yeah, so in 20 okay, fast forward to 2020 when DeFi, things about DeFi started popping up, and I realized at the time, we were at the very peak of COVID. It was a very big, it was a very difficult time for a lot of people, especially people in Nigeria, in Africa. We realized that a lot of us tried to tap into savings, but one major problem that occurred then was that we realized that the value of our currency the purchasing power was extremely low. And it wasn't just for me, it was for a lot of people, family members, friends. And the main reason that happened was that our currency isn't so strong. We always face inflation, there is multiple devaluations. And at the time I was thinking, okay, how are we going to be able to solve this problem? So I started looking more into DeFi. I started studying, decentralized finance, in more detail. And I realized that, wait, hold on, we could actually solve this problem by leveraging DeFi, And that was how Xend Finance was born, looking at a way we could protect the assets of people in unstable economies, people where currencies face multiple devaluations, and then convert it to stable currencies, and then leverage multiple DeFi lending protocols to be able to give them very high yield. So that's the core of Xend Finance, and then we also we've now started even doing more things, being able to create infrastructure to be able to even support these traditional financial institutions and to even do more for them apart from just protecting the assets, yes, from devaluation. Yeah, so that's how my background, spiraled and then tie into the Xend Finance history as well. So in a nutshell, yeah.
Isn't it amazing how you can identify something that's wrong with the financial infrastructure and just work to go fix it through DeFi? That's really a remarkable feature of what we're all working with at this point.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think something that's really interesting is other large kind of entities have kind of recognized the innovation you're bringing. And you guys have a partnership with Binance and Google Launchpad.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to, or did you want to maybe elaborate on that for some of the viewers? I'm also curious for some insight
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah. So at Xend Finance, we were actually part of. So Binance had a launchpad. So in 2019, actually, we were part of the Binance launchpad. Binance selected 4 companies from Africa, right? To Binance Labs, actually, not the launchpad, Binance Labs. So Binance selected 4 companies from Africa, a couple of companies from the US, Europe, for the incubation program. So Binance was our first investor, in Xend. And then after Binance invested in us, we built our first platform, which was a payments platform, for transferring of money, cross-border payments, and all that. Then before we now got into Xend Finance, which is like decentralized finance. Also, after we were done with Binance, we also got into Google Launchpad. So that one is called Google Launchpad. So Google actually invested in Xend as well. So, but Google's investment is equity-free investment, and they provide support, engineering, Google Cloud. Like now we've been, I mean, Google has been really helpful. We've been using, the Google Cloud services for close to 2 years now without making any form of payments, because they've continuously backed us, and we consume a lot of cloud credit. So I mean, Google are very strong backers for Xend and Binance as well. So we got knowledge from the Binance team during the incubation program, same thing from the Google team. But the Google Launchpad program was, or Google Accelerator was it was a 3 month program in different countries in Nigeria, in 2 different countries, Nigeria and Rwanda. Yeah, so that's how these companies have been backing us. Yeah.
Gotcha. And that's super neat, kind of just having some big players in the game kind of help
Yeah.
out and help kind of get these things to come to fruition.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and so you guys have a focus on education, which is something that we do as well. Binance does it, Coinbase does it. I think that's a huge push in the industry. And what brought this on specifically for you guys?
Yeah, so looking at my our background, looking at where we come from, looking at Africa. One thing is that people in Africa mostly are here where it's, I won't use the word slow adopters of technology, but for you to get to the lowest people, which makes up majority of the population, you need to bring information down to a very, very simple level so you can communicate. And looking at the core of our problem, or the problem we're trying to solve, which is people who are living in unstable economies, the real people who face these challenges don't understand anything about crypto. They don't understand about the blockchain. They don't really know how it works. Even the elites actually still find it very difficult. Even software engineers, a lot of them still don't know how the whole blockchain works. They are just what most people just do is buying, holding of crypto, selling of cryptocurrency. And it's not enough. So one of the things we realize is for us to be able to explain what we do, for us to be able to explain to talk about DeFi, we need to actually create simple educational materials. We need to partner with educational companies or projects that focus on education, and also create our own educational content to be able to send a clear message to the real audience that we're targeting. And that is our main aim at Xend Finance, to target people who are financially underserved, people who are not privileged enough to be able to gain access to the global money market. So that is the main aim of creating these educational materials. And we've seen that it's been really, really effective. And I mean, we are actually now we are able to now drive more adoption. We're able to allow people to learn more by just sharing this information. I can give you an example. Like, okay, I got most of my family in Nigeria, some of my old uncles, or people who have heard about what I'm doing. At times they're like, that they want to really know more about this, like how can they learn about it? And all I just have to now do is to just share our learning platform link, learn.xend.finance, and it's very easy for them. They just go through, watch videos, and they're like, wow, I understand it. Because before now, it was really easy. I could stay on the phone maybe for like 30 minutes trying to explain this to one person, and then, another person will reach out to you, have to spend the same time. But you see, now it makes it a lot easier. And even for our employees who are on the streets, who are educating people, having seminars in different parts of Nigeria and Africa, it's a lot easier. And the first version we've created this is just the first one. We're actually working on more, even creating much more detailed content to be able to help people understand what we're doing. Yeah. So that's the reason we're actually building this educational content system out. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the comment about instead of you having to explain it to, spend an hour each time to a million different people, you just send them some links now. So that's a nice benefit right there. I know I've used our website for that. So I'll be like, here, let me send you an email with these links.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely important, kind of onboarding the new user and kind of segueing off of that. Currently, you guys only offer yields on stable coins. And this kind of promotes more of like the beginner friendly, the less volatile DeFi options. Can you kind of elaborate on why this approach was taken instead of maybe like propping up a yield farm with tremendous high yields and kind of going that route?
Okay, yeah. So that's a very good question. One of the reason we actually took this approach first is because we're looking at a particular type of audience. We're looking at people who do not want their assets fluctuating in value. Imagine someone who probably has just about $300 that they want to save, and maybe you're using an ETH farm or something, and then the person puts it there. Yeah, because might be farming some ETH or BNB, and then value goes down. Maybe like the way the market is right now, the value probably drops by over 60% or over 70%. And these are like average people who don't have so much money. And you realize that it doesn't. You're not actually solving your problem. You're actually compounding on the problems, because they now have to worry every day about, okay, what's the current price of the token? They have to keep checking. But with stable currency, they don't need to bother about checking, because the capital or the base amount that they've deposited is there. Every other thing that compounds is yield. Every other thing that adds up is yield. And another reason we try to also be very careful with supporting so many assets is risk management. Also, because we are building for the traditional community, we are building for people who have been into finance for years. For example, now we're even hiring people from the banking space. We are doing a lot of background work, making sure that we get a lot of funds from the traditional financial space, as we mentioned. Now, you cannot really speak to these people and create a platform while you're creating a platform that is high risk, because when you support multiple assets, so many things that have happened in the past in multiple DeFi protocols like Harvest Finance. There are just so many, and even on Yen Finance as well. Like, there was a point at which some parts of the first version of this Volt contract, I think one of them that supported multiple assets had a glitch or something, and some hackers not really penetrated, but they manipulated values by leveraging their oracle and all that. So when you create something that has multiple points of failure, it becomes a lot easier. It exposes your system to risk. And that is one of the things we're trying to do. At this early stage, we're trying to mitigate or reduce exposure to risk, because we're dealing with people who are used to just having stable values, people who are not used to worrying about how things fluctuate or worrying about platforms being hacked. But as we progress, which is in part of our roadmap, we have features that we're developing. We're building things like our Vault. Our Vault will start supporting multiple assets, and even individuals who are not part of the Xend Finance team can even build strategies around our Vault system to even provide more yield farms, a lot better yield farms, actually. But at this point, we're trying to keep it simple while we, gradually build on top of this, because we really don't want to, have situations where we tend to maybe do so much in a very early stage and then lose a lot, expose our people to very high risk. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a ton of value there. And it's definitely not the easy route, right? Like it's a lot easier to prop up a yield farm in
Oh yes,
300,
yeah, yes,
800% APY. Like
exactly, yes,
sure,
yes,
it might be able to get you the users you want very instantly and kind of incentivize them there. But I think kind of with what your guys' mission, kind of being a credit union, kind of serving the underbanked, it goes a long way, kind of setting up the right infrastructure, putting the
correct,
education down, kind of offering the less volatile like avenues of income in crypto, but
yeah,
still like you guys are offering around like 10% APY on stable coins, which is
yeah,
a solid returns when you kind of go out and you look into other markets. So I
correct,
think it's very important and it's notable. I like what you guys are doing. It's kind of
thank you,
it's different. It's not the easy route, kind of just throwing out yields and say, hey,
yeah,
come ape into our platform. It's not
yeah,
that. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's pretty notable to touch on.
thank you,
Yeah, and I wanted to add to that. You touched on something that I was discussing with someone yesterday, which is I don't consider my stable coins in most platforms actually to be cash, right? Like the money in my savings account is my risk-free insured cash. The money that I may have in a lending protocol, I almost look at it as an investment because it's a different type of risk that I'm taking on.
yeah,
And if your platform is really focusing on eliminating points of failure, reducing that risk, that may even become something where at some point I could look at and say, no, I can put my savings here,
yeah,
right? Like my nest egg can go there or my emergency fund can go there
correct,
because you eliminate that risk. And that serves really a whole different purpose in my mind. Because I look at a lot of like even stable liquidity pool pairs, that may be in a higher yield farm, but there's higher risk involved and that can't be my emergency fund for
correct,
my expenses, right? Because I could
yeah,
lose it. So that's
yeah, correct,
and so this actually segues perfectly into the next question, which is your method and what you're doing is obviously going to be much more attractive to institutional customers than a crazy
correct,
high risk yield farm.
correct,
And
correct,
have you
yeah,
seen success there and talking with other banks or institutional
yeah,
clients and
yeah,
building relationships?
yeah.
And like, have you seen success on that front of
Okay,
building
yes, yes.
relationships?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, yes. We've actually seen a lot of success. So, in the last I think the last 2.5 weeks, something really interesting happened. Because we actually we've started expansion to other African countries. Like physically, like we of course we have people from different countries, even Asia, like the Philippines, Vietnam, people from China. We have people from different countries, Turkey, using the platform. But we started just like you mentioned, meeting institutional investors or institutional financial houses or like banks, members, fund managers. So we moved to like Kenya, started having interactions with people there, and also like expanded our footprint in Nigeria. And one thing we realized last week, Nigeria had like another devaluation of its currency, right? And that was really bad. And immediately that happened, we realized that by talking to these institutional clients, people that work in banks and these fund managers, we realized that some of them actually took like a very bold step, and we saw over 400% increase in our TVL, in the last 2 weeks. And it was attributed to the fact that these guys had listened to us, even though we was just like our first time of talking to them. It was a very, very interesting move. It was a very interesting thing to see. And it really made us understand that, wow, there's a lot to do here. And, just looking at the traditional financial space, there are like, you have every year, like for example, like in Kenya, I think you have like it's over like $400 billion or so that people actually save, attribute to savings in a year, or people try to invest. And just getting about 5% of that money a year, it's a whole lot. and that is just from one country. So one major thing we realize is that, okay, there's a huge opportunity here for us to actually bring in funds from the traditional financial space into the decentralized financial space. And by talking to these institutional clients, we've seen that, okay, they've started making bold moves. So we just need to increase our efforts, put in more work. And that is on the client side, but also on the infrastructure development, on the protocol development side, we need to ensure more security. We need to ensure at least that we have, very good yields, not crazy yields, but yields that, okay, will be attractive enough for them, to look in and see that they can actually deposit funds here. Yeah. So it's actually, we're getting like very good feedback from these institutional clients. Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and so kind of continuing very similar there, I think something that is massive and maybe you can shed some light on is you guys recently had a partnership with Blockbank, and I was kind of perusing through the medium and it mentions opening up fiat to crypto gateways. Will this be something that is kind of directly integrated into the Xend Finance platform? And if not in this part, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. So so that's actually a very great partnership. So Blockbank, if you have the app, so they will be listing Xend on their app, and they will allow people to be able to purchase the Xend tokens with fiat currency. Now and then Blockbank AI also offers, so one of the features they're working on is like artificial intelligence support to be able to give users predictions on what on the high yields, the protocols that can give them very high yields, and also even help existing protocols to be able to optimize and aggregate yields to give very high APYs to users. So that's why like our partnership with them goes beyond just listing and supporting with supporting with like a fiat to crypto on ramp. Then the next thing we're actually doing on the Xend Finance platform is we're actually building out our own fiat to crypto on ramp. We already have one on Ethereum blockchain that we're actually launching in by next month. So it's going to support multiple countries. You can purchase, crypto. The cryptocurrencies we support on Ethereum blockchain with your card easily. So that's like one, being directly from the Xend Finance platform, and then we are also going to be supporting bank account transfers especially from Africans, from Nigeria. So because Nigeria is, the second largest trader of Bitcoin in the world, Nigeria is really doing great in trading crypto. But we want to now, of course, teach them more about, DeFi and, build that adoption. And so one of the things we're doing is creating an easy fiat to crypto on ramp, because most major transactions here are not done with cards. They are done with bank transfer, via bank transfer. So we want to ensure that we're able to create a very simple platform for them to, get on board DeFi using Xend Finance. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a massive key, because for a lot of challenge, like a big challenge a lot of people have is actually getting the crypto. A lot of it from there is kind of self-fulfilling.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, correct.
So kind of having that fiat to crypto gateway built in on the platform will, I think, be massive for kind of adopting new users and then kind of help educating them and all of that good stuff.
And speaking of the users, so you guys have a referral program. I wanted to see if you could share the details of that.
Okay, yeah. So what our referral program was just launched a couple of days back. I think it was last week. So the main aim of our referral program is to be able to build, natural growth, like organic growth, because we've seen that major platforms. I'll give an example, like PC platforms like PayPal, platforms like Binance. Got a lot of their customers based on referral. So one of the things we're doing is making sure that users on their own can generate referral links, customize it, and refer their friends to come and save. Now, the incentive behind that is what we do at Xend Finance is we usually we make approximately 20% of how we make money is we make 20% commission on the interest that is being generated on the platform. So, but what we are doing is when you refer someone and when the person saves, when the person is about to withdraw, the Xend Finance commission is split into two. So you take 50% of our commission, and then of course we take our 50%. So it makes you like part of, you know, the team. So by supporting the project, especially at these very early stages, you are able to actually earn as we earn revenue. Yeah, so that is the main aim of the referral program. The referral program is to get in multiple users to start using the platform, from the retailers, normal retail savers or smaller savers, and then also institutionalized savers, get them to use the platform, and also to build up. It will help, of course, build up like our TVL, help build up active users, and yeah, that's basically what we're doing here.
Okay, awesome.
Perfect. And then segueing a little bit, I think this is actually a really interesting question. This is actually something that one of our writers who lives in Nigeria kind of brought up. He's covered a few of your guys' releases, so he's fairly familiar with the project. So he was curious because Nigeria has kind of been somewhat hostile towards crypto recently. I know they had some sort of ban in 2017 that they kind of resurfaced. It wasn't like they did anything new, but they kind of resurfaced, brought it up, and made sure that like citizens were aware of what that was. And then there was also more recently this sort of ban on Twitter. Has this kind of these Nigerian policy issues have an effect on Xend Finance, and kind of what is your guys' outlook on that?
Okay, yeah, so that's actually very good. That's like the insight is actually very, very good. You know, looking into the Nigerian market and the Nigerian crypto relationship. So it's Nigerian government crypto relationship isn't the best one, but the good thing about it is that the effect on a platform like Xend Finance is very, very much reduced, because what the Nigerian government said is that projects, the banks or financial institutions should not support bank accounts or should not provide financial services to crypto exchanges, you know, protocols or projects that accept, you know, crypto in exchange for fiat and all that. Yeah. So what it actually did the first time was it prevented exchanges from making transactions very easily, you know, because initially all the exchanges had accounts with banks, and they could easily just receive fiat in their accounts and give crypto, or receive crypto and provide fiat, which makes the fiat to crypto on-ramp implementation extremely simple. But when that circular was passed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, what happened was crypto projects started creating a P2P platform, and it's been very efficient. And that is exactly what Xend Finance is actually also working on, and you know, we're going to be implementing. So the P2P platform is, you know, actually Bitcoin, or no, sorry, not the Bitcoin, but the blockchain is an efficient peer-to-peer system, you know. So P2P platforms now made the banks kind of obsolete. Like the banks are no longer, the crypto projects no longer need to have a bank account. Everybody's bank account is their bank account. So people can do their transactions, you know, on their own without, of course, being shut down by the banks. And yes, the central bank, I think that one of the directors of the central bank had an interview and said, yeah, that they cannot stop peer-to-peer transactions, you know, but this transactions that are where the projects have accounts domiciled in the bank, those transactions will not occur. So for a couple of weeks, it affected, you know, being able to have this fiat to crypto on ramps, but now it doesn't anymore. So it's actually a very good thing that a lot of crypto projects started, you know, building immediately that this ban came up. And also for the Twitter ban, that's, for me, I mean, my personal feedback currently I'm in the US. I came to the US a couple of weeks back for the Miami conference, and I'll be heading back to Nigeria in a couple of weeks. But you know, it's painful that we have. I mean that, you know, the government will ban something like Twitter. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me personally. But yeah, the good thing about Xend Finance again, and why we're not affected by that, is that our core marketing team is not based in Nigeria, right? Our head of marketing is actually based in San Francisco. And Xend Finance as a project is not actually domiciled in Nigeria, right, is actually domiciled in the BVI. So and that gives us, of course, because we always have to be in areas where we are, where areas that are crypto friendly, you know, areas that where we can operate easily without having any problems. But our main focus, of course, is in Africa, and it was built by Africans. But yeah, Twitter is a social media, but it hasn't really affected Xend Finance yet, because I mean, our the real marketing or the real adoption we're actually doing now, we are mostly having like physical interactions. We're having you know, we're using other social media. Like if you're based in Nigeria or in Africa, you know that things like Facebook, things like Instagram are extremely effective in Nigeria and in Africa. You know, so some of those other social media channels are actually being used to get to our audience, you know. But then for people who are outside Nigeria, who are in other African countries, of course, our Twitter is active, and we're still being able to communicate with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like overall you guys have that pretty figured out. It
Oh
sounds like
yes.
you're
Yeah.
definitely aware of it and it's not too big of a red flag. So
No.
that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was like, I grew up. I grew up in Nigeria. I've known. I mean, I was born in Nigeria. I've lived almost all my life in Nigeria. So, I mean, growing up in Nigeria teaches you a couple of things. I mean, you know the country, you know everything about it, and it's also being a founder in Nigeria has taught me a whole lot more. Being able to navigate a lot of things, because you know, like Xend Finance isn't my first startup. I founded a couple of startups, and doing all that in a country like Nigeria teaches you a lesson. Like it makes you, it toughens you up. It makes you know that, look, if you can navigate a country like Nigeria, I think you can probably survive almost anywhere else as a founder. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so, for kind of a final question and topic, let's focus on some future stuff for Xend. So I first want to ask, and you may have no interest in this, but this is coming from the more aggressive yield farmer. Are you working on anything, any partnerships to boost yield within your ecosystem, or any like further partnership with PancakeSwap?
Yeah, so correct. So we're deploying on by July, we'll be deploying on we're going to be deploying on Polygon, right? And we're actually looking at multiple partnerships to boost yield on Polygon. But internally, we're also, if you look at our roadmap, like I mentioned, we're working on something called the Xend Vote. And the Xend Vote is actually a highly optimized system, much, you know, a much more advanced system that enables people to earn much better yields, you know. And it's somewhat similar to the Yen Finance Vote. For people who are great yield farmers, they might know about the Yen Vote. And the Yen Vote actually outperforms, I mean, any other vote out there. I mean, it's actually a great piece of technology created, you know, by Andre and the rest of the Yen team. So we're actually building something similar on Binance Smart Chain. We're also going to be building something similar on Polygon. But yeah, the things like normal yield farming, like you know, like PancakeSwap farmings, we're going to be implementing similar things on Ethereum blockchain, because we're going to also be launching our protocol officially on Ethereum blockchain by next month as well, with and on Polygon as well. So we're going to be implementing yield farming next month to be able to boost liquidity. Yeah, so we're going to be doing all that next month. Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. It's really exciting.
There's tons of exciting things there. So I really like how you guys were able to kind of build out this platform. You have the education, and you're also kind of recognizing where the market's moving, kind of starting to pay attention to Polygon and start dabbling in yield optimization as well. So I think that's really exciting and will kind of help attract users to Xend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Other than that, I think there's kind of, those are some things to be excited about. Is there any other thing you kind of want to leave any viewers off with to be excited about?
Oh yeah, so I really want to tell like the users that we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot of work, you know, when it comes to building out the project. Also, when it comes to even increasing demand, we're doing work at the demand for Xend, because one thing we've tried to do is to make sure that Xend Finance launched less than about 3 months ago, and of course, in the last 20 to 30 days, the crypto market has been, very, very terrible. But of course, one of the things we're trying to do is to make sure that we're not distracted as a project. We can never be distracted, because most people always, message you, talk about pricing, talk about, how the token is performing, giving you feedback on what you should do to just make sure that the token rises and everything. And in my mind, I'm like, guys, we launched 3 months ago, and looking at projects like Binance, great projects like Binance, great projects like Polygon, these are projects that spent time building the product, right? These are projects that spent time, creating something. And over time, those projects just are sort of unstoppable. And that is the point at which we want to get to. We're focusing mostly, not solely, but mostly on the product, the engineering, getting word out there, and of course, building a very strong clientele base, because just like Xend Finance requires people from the traditional financial space to come in, and it takes some time. So I'm really excited about the next 6 months. Being able to complete our roadmap is what is, really, really on my mind and on the mind of the rest of the team. On our website, we're going to be updating the roadmap before the end of the month, because we've actually done about 85% or close to 90% of what we have for this quarter, and I'm super excited about it. I mean, we faced multiple challenges, like some team members having COVID, some of them losing family members to COVID. It was really, really tough, but we were able to bounce back from all those challenges to make sure that, okay, we kept on building. And I'm really excited about, even for next month, that we're having like a new version of our DApp actually coming out next month. We're going to be seeing like the Polygon. We're going to be seeing seeing much more in the development of our votes. And one other thing we're doing, which for now we want to make it like a surprise when it comes up, is we want a situation where, not a situation though, but Xend Finance is now going to be providing like opportunities, going to be providing like a platform for multiple projects from Africa to be, coming, or for us to be moving, making projects from Africa, global per se. Like most founders now reach out to me from Africa, and they're like, hi, that they want to, move in the direction of Xend Finance, that they love what we've been able to do, that they would like to maybe meet, get access to investors. They would like to, get access to a great community. So one of the things we're doing at Xend Finance is we've got a lot of these requests, and we're trying to create platforms, or trying to create a system that will enable us, easily promote or push these projects out there, while the Xend Finance project is actually being improved upon, or while these projects will leverage Xend Finance. So overall, we are having a great how would I put it? We have like a great roadmap. We have, great ideas, and we are really, really very excited with what we're implementing. Like, it's, for me, I'm very, very happy. I'm super happy with what we're doing. And one very good thing we've also achieved is being able to have a team that is, I can't stop talking about our team, a team that is multicultural. We have people, we now have even developers from China, from Japan, from Turkey. When we started initially, everybody was building from Nigeria. But we realized that after the first version of this project, started getting requests from people from other countries. Hi, that we're developers, we love your project, we want to join your project, and even developers from South Africa. And we were really, at first, I didn't think that was going to happen, but it started happening, and I was very, very, very excited. It showed that we built something that could resonate, with people, with people in different parts of the world, regardless of the culture, regardless of the country. And it really, makes me very excited. It gives me personally that confidence to keep on with that growth. We keep on with that, enthusiasm. And yeah, that's basically what we're doing right now. And I really want to urge the community to just keep believing in us, believing in what we're doing, and to just keep supporting as much as possible, you know. And yeah, as these new products ship, as these new versions come out, let's just keep, you know, talking about it. Let's keep using it, and then I believe that so many great things will just happen. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. And you touched on something, which is, I mean, the token prices are going to be crazy. Your token's going to pump, it's going to dump, it's going to do, you know, what this crazy market does, but what the team does is what really matters long term. So
Yeah,
you know, I love what you guys are focusing on, and the passion you clearly have for it as well is
yeah.
it's kind of coming out of you there, which is amazing.
Thank you
Definitely,
very much.
yeah. And I think the key thing there is like you guys are just focused on continuing to build and making sure that's important. So I think that's a great note to kind of leave it off. The community knows you guys are building strong. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll definitely hear more from the Xend Finance platform as some of these features come out. But
Thank you.
yeah, been great chatting.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks,
thank
Greg.
you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I really love the opportunity, and it was great really being on this platform. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course.